Okay, bear with me, guys. I'm going to attempt to do this with my phone by myself in the studio, and I don't know if it's going to work. But this is the cute little gingerbread guy here. These are made out of little cork discs that I bought at Michael's. They were on clearance, so I really scored. I got 50 of them for 99 cents. Didn't know what I was going to do with them, but came up with this little guy, and everybody really seems to like it. And they'll make darling magnets, pins, tiny little ornaments, whatever you want to do. So I'm just going to do it really quick because people were asking. These are so easy. There's only 4 colors. I used burnt umber, Santa red, warm white, bittersweet chocolate, and then some frosting on the top is going to be your ice crystal glitter dust, or glamour dust, excuse me. So what I did to start was I crisped up the edges of the discs with burnt umber, and I just put out a little bit and floated, or a lot, floated some burnt umber around the edges. These have already been done, but you can see what I did was just do a float all the way around the edges. And when you do that, you're going to end up with the center being lighter because the water on your brush darkens up the cork as you go. But when it dries, it doesn't show, so it'll be fine. So you're going to go all the way around the edges of the cork with your burnt umber. Then what I did was I scrubbed on my cheeks, and I used Santa red. You could use whatever color you want. But I just put, and you just need a drop of this, because the key to soft cheeks, which everybody always asks, the key to doing a soft cheek is scrubbing out the paint really well first. So I just scrub out the paint so most of it's gone. You can see most of the paint is actually on the paper towel. And then very light-handed, you're just going to scrub in a circular motion and scrub those little cheeks on. Super easy. And as you see, I didn't have any prep work to this cork. I'm going right onto the cork. So just scrub on some cheeks. If you want them darker, go darker. Remember that when you put on your varnish, it's going to darken up some anyway. So I got the cheeks on. Then I'm going to take a small round brush, and I'm going to go ahead and add a little nose. And I use kind of washy paint for this. You can go ahead and thin it down some and add that little nose on there. Super easy. Then I used bittersweet chocolate. You could use black if you prefer black, but I decided on the cookie that the bittersweet was dark enough. So I took my bittersweet chocolate and eyes. Eyes are, if you want cute little eyes, super easy, little jelly bean eyes. You're just going to take your brush, and I have a little bit of a blob of paint on the end. I gather it up and get a little ball on the end of my brush. And then you're just going to set it down, reload, angle them a little bit, reload again. You don't want them to be perfectly round. You don't want them to be just the same. So you got eyeballs on there. Then you're going to take a liner brush, and you're going to give your ginger a cute little mouth, however it is that you want to do it. I just like to make them up higher and then way down and then back up, line in that little mouth. And then if you want to have the mouth open at all, you're going to draw a little opening underneath, and we're just going to go back and touch some red in there. Just like that. And then something I've started doing on all my eyes is a little tiny dot. Whoops, you gotta have paint before you do that. A little dot on the outside of each eye, right there. If you want to, you can pull eyelashes. I like eyelashes, and I like to do little stuff, but not everybody does. But here, another trick is, if you do make them little, start in the eye and just pull out, pull out, pull out. Super simple. Don't get carried away. You don't want it to look like a spider landed on their face. Just pull out, pull out, pull out. And then And these are with thinned paint on your liner brush so that you can work with it. Should be ink-like consistency. Go ahead and just angle out little eyebrow there and there. Okay. With your liner brush, go ahead and pick up a little bit of that red if you want to put some mouth in there. And just add in some of that mouth right there. I don't know if gingerbread cookies really have an open mouth, but if they do, that's what it looks like. Then you're going to go ahead and take your white. I happen to be using warm white, but you can use whatever color white you want. And then I loaded this on pretty heavy on my brush to put on the frosting, and it's just a wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. That's all it is. And you'll see it starts to run out on that cork, so I reloaded, wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. And you want to kind of angle that down as you're going, because remember it's round. If you go straight across, then it doesn't give you the illusion of it being round. So you want to go down a little bit, and then thin that paint down a tiny bit, ink-like consistency, and then I put a little highlight on the top of my nose, some little dots in my eyes. And on eyes, when you're doing a highlight dot, make sure you put them on the same side of each eye, not, in other words, the left of each eye or the right of each eye. It doesn't matter which, but the same side. Otherwise, they look cross-eyed. You can do one highlight, or you can go ahead and add a second one if you want. And then I always just add a tiny little dots on the cheeks. And then you can go ahead and do a little tiny highlight on the lip. And you got a cute little face. And then all you have to do, if you want to give it a little more definition, I tend to like to add more to it, but the cool thing is you don't have to. If you want to, you can do a tiny little float on the bottom of the nose just to deepen it up at the base, and that looks really cute. If you want, you can add a tiny little bit of shading underneath that bottom lip also. But that's also up to you. You don't have to do that. Again, right here, you can see where the water is. That's going to dry, and then you're not going to see that at all, but it's just where the water is touching the cork. All you have to do now is just wait for this to dry. Take your glamour dust, brush it over the whole thing, and then it'll sparkle like it's got sugar on it. And then, because one of the comments I read today said that it smelled like cookies just looking at them, I got the idea that you could take a drop of cinnamon oil, or even a little tiny bit of cinnamon, and just rub it on the back of this, and then if you're making ornaments, they would smell wonderful. You might not want to wear a pin with cinnamon on it like that, but as an ornament, it would be pretty cool. So, hopefully that makes sense to everybody. There's a super quick ginger cookie. You could do these on wooden discs also, but the nice thing about this cork is there's no prep whatsoever. You just go ahead and start painting. It's ready to go. You've got natural flecks and shading right there, and you're set to go. Hope that helps. Thanks. Bye.